Fred Guttenberg. He lost his daughter Jamie in the 2018 shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. He's now an activist against gun violence. Fred, I just want to read some numbers to you because this is really a very important distinction to make. In Las Vegas, there were 58. At Pulse Nightclub, 49. Sandy Hook, 27. Aurora, 12. The Tree of Life Synagogue, 11. Sutherland Spring, Texas, 25, including an unborn child. And Parkland, Florida, which you know well, 17. All of these incidents, assault weapons were used to take life. This judge comparing assault weapons to a Swiss Army knife. Your reaction?
This very minute, while we're doing this interview, there's a parade happening in Parkland for all the graduating seniors that my daughter is supposed to be a part of. Right now, as we're doing this interview, I am not there. My daughter's in a cemetery, excuse me, because a Swiss Army knife was not used, because it was an AR-15. My daughter was on the third floor. If a Swiss Army knife were used, my daughter and most of those other kids and adults would be alive today. So let me deliver a message to this activist judge who's been at this now for a while. You are a liar. And your opinion is written utilizing the exact language of the gun lobby. These are not new words. These are not new phrases. They are not new expressions. You took the language from the gun lobby to write this opinion. My daughter was born in 2003 when there was a federal assault weapons ban, okay? Following that ending of that ban in 2004, these weapons were not common. They were not typical. And what the gun industry did is they said these are for hunting and sport while overproducing in quantities every year and doing things like marketing these weapons to kids and for other uses. And now they say it's common, it's typical. No, you're full of crap, Judge, and you are going to lose.
I can feel your anger. We obviously hear it and see it, and the pain also in your voice, Fred. You have this judge who is using words like ordinary and average to describe an AR-15 style weapon. You also talked about him using language that you say was taken from the gun lobby. And case in point, in the ruling, he talks about guns and ammunition in the hands of criminals, tyrants, and terrorists are dangerous. Guns in the hands of law-abiding, responsible citizens are better. So again, there's that argument that it's not the guns, it's the people. Reading through this, how are you feeling?
Listen, my daughter is supposed to graduate this week, and I should be at a parade right now, not doing an interview like this. So I'm upset, I'm angry, and I'm also fearful for the next shooting, and the one after that, and the one after that, because of this judge, because of this ruling, because of the inability of people to say, we can support the Second Amendment, but we can also do more for gun safety. People are going to die because of this ruling. And so I'm upset for the loss of my daughter and for all the other victims, but I am fearful because I know there's someone out there right now who will go out and buy an AR-15 because of this judge and use it.
Now, Fred, for the sake of argument, let's present the counterpoint here, and I'll give you an example. I believe it was the end of 2015, close to 2015, there was a shooting in San Bernardino, California, where a couple, a husband and wife, using legally purchased weapons, converted them into weapons that would have been illegal under this assault weapons ban that the judge is attempting to overturn. They were able to get their hands on those weapons and convert them to make them assault weapons anyway. What would a law actually do to stop gun violence if they were able to inflict so much damage back in 2015?
Well, listen, you raise a great question because we live now in a patchwork of loosened gun laws. Again, I talked about my daughter being born in 2003. And we've watched the gun lobby work through legislators and judges to loosen gun laws over the years that have brought us to this place that we're at now. They used to like to talk about the slippery slope. We've been on a slippery slope, and you raise a perfect example. I mean, California, another example was the Saugus High School shooting, where you can make ghost guns online. What would legislation do? We would start closing these loopholes step by step, one by one. Legal, lawful gun owners would still have their weapons. They would still be able to get their weapons, get their ammunition, but we would be closing these loopholes and make it harder for those who intend harm to themselves or others to have the means to do so. Listen, I wish I could tell you legislation just will stop all gun violence. It won't. But we need to pass legislation so we can start reducing the gun violence death rate, so we can start reducing these instances of gun violence, and so that we can reduce the severity of these injuries and instances when they happen. Because unfortunately, with 400 million weapons on the streets today, this is where we're at. But to say we should do nothing, or to have a judge like this who literally is that decision had to have been written by the gun lobby, it is their language. That's not okay.
Fred, you know, you've channeled your grief into action and being an activist against gun violence. Can you talk to us a little bit about some of the headway you've been making or progress as you've been pushing for gun safety? Have you been in touch or do you plan to be in touch with Governor Gavin Newsom of California as a result of the overturning of this assault weapons ban?
So I've not been in touch with Governor Newsom since this was overturned. We have been in touch in the past, and I would hope that we will again in the future. But to answer your question, listen, states across this country are passing gun safety legislation, and Governor Newsom has been a leader on this. So have other states. You can look at, and it's not just Democratic governors like my friend Phil Murphy in New Jersey or in New York, but you have Republican governors like Charlie Baker in Massachusetts or Larry Hogan in Maryland who are also doing the work of gun safety to save lives. The past two elections, to answer your question, have turned on the desire of Americans to be safe. 2018, we flipped the House. In 2020, we elected Joe Biden president and Kamala Harris vice president, and we flipped the Senate. Americans overwhelmingly support gun safety. They want this done. The roadblock right now is the Senate. They are standing firm and standing still. The Democrats should move on without the non-governing party to get this done. 90% of Americans want gun safety legislation. It doesn't mean we want to take away everyone's guns. It means we want to start saving lives. The time is now.
Fred Guttenberg, sorry that we have to meet again under these circumstances, but as you said, your daughter Jamie should be celebrating with these children graduating high school right now, and our heart is with you. And thank you again, and all the best to you in your efforts.